So in this video, I am on an interview on Hope Alive Radio, and it has been captured on camera. I'm basically being interviewed about my journey in property development. The book, It's More Than Just Money, a guide to escaping the rat race and building generational wealth, which was specifically written for people who want to conscientize themselves on entrepreneurship and starting and growing their businesses as well as their property investment portfolios. Now, if you don't know who I am, my name is Witness Mtaka. Tune into the interview. You'll get to know more about me and the work that I do, and also some interesting nuggets about how you can use some of the things I'm saying in the video to build your own life and build your own career, especially if you're a young person. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, click on the subscribe button, click on the notifications bell, comment, let me know where you're watching from, let me know what your thoughts are about some of the things that are shared in the video. Now, looking forward to hearing what you have to say. Tune in.
Some of the highlights. Let's pick up one that comes first in terms of what you've learned over the years. Has it been 2, 3 years?
This is the second year.
Second year.
Doing the tour. Last year, we did the 2022 tour. It was our first time doing the It's More Than Just Money Business and Property Seminar for the It's More Than Just Money Movement Tour.
Okay.
And then, we taught all 9 provinces last year. I didn't have co-speakers with me. I was literally doing the tour alone.
9 provinces, it was just you.
9 provinces. I did all 9 provinces alone last year. This year is different. Every province we've been to, I've had other people that are speakers. And I'll tell you, the reason we did it that way this year is to bring in fresh perspective in terms of areas of entrepreneurship where I might not necessarily be an expert in, but we bring in an expert to speak specifically on that particular subject that might be affecting entrepreneurs. So let's say, for instance, digital technology or digital marketing, right? Yes, I'm good with social media marketing and all of that, but there are people that specifically deal with digital marketing as a whole, right? What is it that the entrepreneur or the property investor can benefit from that? And then you look at bringing in somebody like an attorney, for instance, right? I might know a thing or two about contracts, right? But an attorney knows it in a broader sense, and they've got depth on the subject, and they can share with attendees certain things that I might not necessarily be privy to because they do it on a daily basis. And that's why we opened it up to say, also, there are different entrepreneurs operating in different spaces apart from property, right? And what is it that we can learn and pick up from them? But to answer your question, what I've learned in the last 2 years or so of doing it is that with everything that you do, and it's the first time you do it, there's a certain level of growth that comes with it. But the growth is only produced by the hardship. Because you don't necessarily wake up tomorrow and do everything 100%, right? With every province, it's different. It's literally doing an event every single month. And sometimes when you do it, we are 2 weeks apart, right? So when we did Mpumalanga, 24 June, 24, 25 June, we had Nelspruit and Wheatbank. Then 8 and 9 July, we had Pretoria and Bedford View. Then
Bloemfontein.
Then Bloem 29 and 30th.
Day apart.
Exactly, 29 July and 30th July. Yeah, we do, So that's what I mean by you now learn to do things in a certain way because the level of hardship, the difference in what you do is no longer the same. So you get to learn and grow in the learning, But what I've told myself and that I understand about myself now is that if I'm not growing, then I'm dying, which is a saying that has always been said by Dr. Molapo, right? If you're not growing, you die. So I've always seen it that way, and I'm open to the challenges that come with growth. And looking at it not only from a short-term point of view, and from a 20-year-long vision.
You have a vision to continue growing.
Yeah, there's a vision in place. I think it might end up coming into a vision that can last up until I'm 90.
But I'm also interested. I'm seeing, like we were talking about last year, how you used to do the shows by yourself, and then this year you changed. So do you, at the end of the year, have a look at what you've done and maybe try to refine, or do you look into your vision and refine it? What's the process?
That's a good question. I think vision must be dynamic. And by dynamic, it means it must constantly change and evolve, right? Adaptability. I'm capable, obviously, of doing the tour alone. I know that because I've done it, right? And the introduction of other speakers is to bring in the growth element to what we do. To now not make it just about having workshops, but literally to build a business that can be in that kind of space and be a leader, right? Because everything that you do is entrepreneurship, right? Now the question is, how many people do what we do and who's the leader, right? And for me and my team, it's always been, how do we position our business and ourselves as the leaders? If you think about people that are doing seminars or events in this country, let us be top of mind.
Okay.
And that's why we said, okay, we see some people are doing what we do. Let's do 2 cities instead of 1 in 1 weekend. So let's flex.
That's how you think.
A bit, right? Because the fact that they are copying, it means now we truly are the leaders, or we are becoming part of the leaders in the market. So if you're going to be a leader in the market, you must demonstrate leadership and do things that nobody has ever done before. And not only do it on your own, get other people to come in on the platform to demonstrate that this is not a one-man show. This is literally a business that can run independent of witness. So I'm literally creating a space where I could be in America and the show can continue. I could be in another province and the show can continue. So that for me is what the vision is. When it started, yes, I started off as somebody who's been in the property industry, wrote a book, I've got a workbook, I can do workshops, which is what we did, right? And then now I look at it and say, but how do you scale and grow something? You scale and grow through difficulty. You must allow yourself the space where things are done differently, which ultimately brings in some sort of difficulty, but simultaneously brings in some growth as well. So from a
say things are done differently, what do you mean? Is there people doing things in a way that you wouldn't do them, and you learning to appreciate that, or there has to be an evolution on how you've been doing things?
So for me, there's to be an evolution. That's a good word. With everything that I find myself in, it needs to be worth doing. Understand? So if we are saying, for instance, I'll give you an example. Before I published my book, a lot of people used to say, you're a good writer, why don't you publish a book? And then I said, the only time I'm going to publish a book is if it's going to be a bestseller. Because I want to do something that puts me on the winning scale. So when I started now my writings on social media, and people were starting to follow me because of my mindset, then I said, I'm writing the book because there's about 10,000 odd people at the time that are potential customers. Then I thought it's the right time to write a book. I can sell it to 10,000 people potentially, right? The book came out 2020. It's 2023. It's self-published. It's still trending. It's still on people's faces, right? Which is what I wanted. I did not want to write a book, then sell it to my friends, and it's over. That's why we said, let's create a movement around it. We created a movement. Now, what is the movement? If we're going to talk about the movement, you can separate the conversation about the movement without mentioning the book. So which means the book will always be a center of conversation. We are sitting now 3 years later, it's mentioned. Not because I'm looking for customers, no, but mainly because there's no conversation that can be had without talking about it. That means it can continue to sell. And then you talk about the movement, right? When we go across the country, obviously we will sell books.
Yeah.
Because the people that attend the workshops, someone might come because he's interested in Tando as a speaker. For instance, like, I don't know Witness, but I seen Tando is there, I'm going to go because of Tando. When we get there and I speak, now they will be interested in buying the book. Who's this guy, right? So there's a lot of business-related elements that I think, even from the movement itself, sorry, young people can learn from that. You know, you can learn from the fact that it's not just a movement. We sell books, of course. I'm an author. You become. It's not. They don't say best writing author. They say best selling. So meaning you need to sell the books. All right. So it goes without saying. Best selling author, not best writing. It could be the most terrible book, but it must be
nicely.
Yes. Not to say it is. It's a good book, but it must be a good book that nobody reads. You understand? Yeah. And then the element of what is the social impact in what we do. Yeah. So impacting people's lives. Correct. That's ticked. And then from the movement, what's the business model? What's the 20-year vision? How much can this grow? How much can it be scaled? And then looking at the fact that you are also putting yourself out there and growing your brand, which is my personal brand, as well as the brand of It's More Than Just Money and our company QJ Consulting, as well as the brands of the people that are speakers on our platform. We want to take what they are already and magnify it. So if you're an attorney speaking there, we make sure that people are going to start enlisting your services now, because now they know you spoke on the platform.
So in summary, just explain your value proposition for your book and your seminars. Like, this is what stands out, right? And this is why people are coming. You're saying, after last year, you said, okay, fine, I'm going to bring more value to people that are going to be attending the seminars. And you also spoke about what the thought process around the book and how you thought about, I want this book
strategy.
to sell. Yeah, so I'm just summarizing it.
No, I like the summary.
Yeah.
Things strategy. So someone will look at you and say, okay, I get how you started with Facebook with the messaging and built the audience, so it became easier to sell the book. And you've anchored some of the sales to the audience that is growing.
Yeah.
But how do I build that audience? Who was witness before you go? Because it takes an element of courage to put yourself out there.
Yeah.
And you'll know
I want to hear this
a
one.
lot of haters, lot of haters are coming as your audience grows.
For sure.
And I think it's something that a lot of entrepreneurs don't realize, that talent alone without the courage and taking initiative won't get you anywhere. It doesn't matter that you were talented.
Yeah.
You didn't have that courage to start. So were you going into it? Were you not afraid at some point? We know you're confident now.
Yeah.
He's very confident. He's very confident.
So here's the thing. For me, when I started, I started off, I would write something and I would literally watch people take me through the mud.
Okay.
Based on what I said. Because you must remember, when you say something and it confronts a certain truth in someone, they will resist. And the best way to resist is to swear at you or say something about you. Not because they hate you. Yes, we call them haters, but sometimes it's because they don't like the fact that you revealed
calling them out.
Their lack of knowledge on a certain subject. And it still happens to me even now. Now, can you imagine back then, if I have 1,000 people following me, right?
Yeah.
And I say something, and then 10% don't agree with me, it's only 100 people swearing at me.
Yeah.
Right now, for instance, there are over 120,000 people on my TikTok profile.
Yeah.
So if I say something and 10% don't agree, that's 12,000 people swearing at me. So I look at it from that perspective and say, okay, are you willing to take the heat? And I think as somebody who's building a brand of any kind and evolving, you must be willing to take the heat for your beliefs, number one, for your convictions, for what you know is true, and for what you know you need to put out there.
But this is what you're saying now that you've grown and you know better. When you were starting, what did you have to tell yourself?
I didn't know what I was doing when I was starting.
But no, there's no way. Are you sure you didn't get any training? Because I've been following you for quite a while, right?
Yeah.
Even before we started the show, right? You already had. And I've seen how you respond to criticism.
Yeah.
You almost knew the words on how to say, okay, fine, you can let your say, but this is where I'm coming from, without offending the other person. I don't know if I'm making sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But sometimes I tell them I'm in charge here. This is my platform.
But did you get training, though? Did you get training?
Training. There's no place where you can be trained to handle criticism. I think
Especially at an emotional level. Right?
it's an emotional. Because remember, one thing you don't understand with social media, there isn't people. Sometimes you are shown at by a 13-year-old who's never worked. Because you don't see the people that are commenting, right? You find the guy sitting in his bedroom there. He's never had a job. He's busy saying, "Oh, you're better." You're talking nonsense. So you must bear that in mind. That not everybody who's on social media, number one, is your peer. Number two, yeah, no, of course.
Not at your level.
They're not at your level. And sometimes, because let me tell you something.
Yeah.
I personally have never seen someone who's doing 100 times more than me disagreeing with me.
Or just taking the time to swear at you.
Or taking the time to swear at me. The minute somebody swears at me, I'm doing better than them. Because there's no way, why would Patrice Motsepe take his time to come swear at me?
And say, "Oh, no,
Who am I?
Busy.
Like he's too busy to, you understand? So even in the space where we are operating, for instance, I'm in the property space, right? I know the gurus there. When I say something, even if it's factually incorrect, they don't have the time to come and correct me.
I remember one time you said one of them called you aside and said, "Amshana, what you're saying there is wrong."
Yeah.
You went back and deleted.
Yes, I don't, there's been instances like that where it was not a guru that said that to me.
Is it?
It was a guy I grew up with. It was when Kobe Bryant died, right? And then a lot of
You saw the
people
post.
No, we spoke about it.
remember that a lot of people were saying a whole lot of things about it, and I said some of you. I said something like, "You are in a room and can't afford a house or something,
And
and you're busy talking about saying things like this about billionaires." And the guy called me and said, "Dude, you've got tenants. You can't say things like that." Then I said, "Okay, it's fine. I'll delete it." Just to respect the guy. And I took time to think about where he's coming from. But there was nothing wrong about what I said. You are busy. You didn't even pay rent this month of 1,000. You are busy swearing at someone. Number one, you are swearing at the dead. Number two, the guy you are swearing at is far more successful than you. That's why I'm saying I've never personally seen someone who is doing better than me feeling threatened about anything I say, right? Because for them, they see themselves when they were starting out or when they were in their transition mode of growth. It's more like, I like that young man, I like his enthusiasm, I like the fact that he's willing to try new things and grow. They encourage you because they know what it's like to be there, right? But someone who's never been there, Pella, now when you make it, you are exposing their laziness. Yeah, if you say it cannot be done and I'm doing it, what does it say about you?
She's speechless.
No, but what do you think about the saying, "Akore, you have to be like the humility part of it"?
I'm not humble. So
You were hoping for a better answer.
and let me tell you why I say that. I believe that for one to be truly humble, they need to have reached their pinnacle of success. Right? It cannot be tested. Right now I said I'm not humble. But I'm only saying that because it cannot really be tested. Even if I said I'm humble. What is humility? Because humility is a hard condition.
Oh, and it's very difficult sometimes, you know.
Yeah,
It's
because-
like sometimes when you've made it, you can't even post because but Lord, you're not.
You're flexing.
Because here's the
flexing.
thing, right?
You can't even be proud.
Yeah.
You can't even say, "Ooh, I know."
You
I'm
can
not
celebrate your
and-
milestones, right?
Exactly. So I'm not talking about not treating people well. That's different.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the fact that when I say I'm not humble, I mean I haven't achieved everything I need to achieve for me to be eligible to feel the feelings of arrogance and overcome them and then say I'm humble.
Oh, you mean it in that context.
I mean it, you know why?
Let's flip it to...
It's easy for you to be humble when you have nothing. In fact, you don't have a choice but to be humble.
This guy. Yeah, now I'm speechless.
You understand? But somebody, if Elon Musk shows humility, it's genuinely humility. He wants nothing from no one. But if you are poor, my man, you're not humble, you're just poor. Think about it, because there's something that you need from someone. Therefore, you must present yourself as a humble person. Vele, you must humble yourself. You need something. But if you don't need anything from anyone, then you can be yourself. And then we can truly say, Maru
have a point.
Untando.
I
Untando is humble. What are we saying it based on? We're saying after everything you've achieved, you're still a normal human being.
Okay. So you're like saying the guy that says they have self-control because they were bullied and they kept quiet cannot say they have self-control until they had it in them to beat up that bully.
Yeah.
And
Then they knew they were dangerous enough.
yeah.
Then they helped back.
Massively.
But when are you
That's a good point. That's a good point. Because for us to say a man is kind and he is full of self-control, he needs to have access to the things that test self-control for us to say that. Understand? For us to say you've got a choice. You can't walk into a store and all there is this Danone and say you love Danone. You don't have a choice. That's why you buy Danone. But if you go there, there's Danone, there's cheese, there's banana, there's apples. And then you say, I prefer Danone. It means you had variety, right? And then you still chose that one thing. Then with you, we can say you like that thing. But if that thing is all you have, how can we say you like it?
Okay, beautiful. Let's get back to my question. I still want to hear what you've learned from your workshops.
Yeah.
I know you've learned from the logistics and planning around it. You've learned from the speakers, especially the speakers.
Yeah.
Lessons for entrepreneurs that stand out for you.
You know, when Julius says it's called cash flow management.
It's a complicated subject.
flow.
You may not understand.
It's a complicated subject. That's very important in any business, right?
Cash flow.
And yeah, cash flow. I think simply because a lot of our costs are upfront for everything, for the venues, for the traveling, and then you have to market and sell tickets, right? So if you don't learn to look after and manage cash flow, you can't survive. I mean, we did a whole tour last year, unfunded, unsponsored. We're doing it again this year, unfunded, unsponsored. So meaning we are covering everything from our pocket. If we're doing it that way, we need to really understand what it means to look after cash flow. So that's the biggest thing, cash flow management, as well as upping your management skills with certain things. You have to lead a team. What's the flow of communication?
Is this a lesson you learned practically doing the logistics and organizing or on the stage from another speaker?
No, it's practical. Remember, we are in this thing.
This is hard knocks.
Yeah, So if you're feeling the punch, you're getting the punch, right? Yeah.
So your speakers, do you sit down and plan, or do they just they know they have to go speak somewhere? Do you give them training? Because I'm talking from a point of a customer where I was close and I was let down. I'm like, the only person who performed proper was so and so, and then the rest. Yeah.
So
You
that
understand
there's
the
some
quality,
alignment to your
Because
vision.
I've seen the quality of what you guys offer.
What we offer.
Yeah.
Yeah. First and foremost, I can recognize a speaker as the founder of the movement. I know I'm gonna deliver 100%. So the first person to open the show and speak is me. Then everybody else speaks in between, and then I'm the last person to speak again. So I speak twice, I don't speak once. And that is based on experience where we've allowed somebody to open, and literally because they weren't as invested as we are on this thing.
They drain the energy.
They drained the energy out of people, right? And then at the end, we've also allowed someone to speak last. Then they drained the energy, and the event ends on that note, right? And then I thought, okay, Pelamina, these people are my people. I'm genuinely interested in them. So I can start, bring in the energy, give value, then the other speakers will come. But we carefully select who we bring onto the platform to answer your question, right? Although I can open and close, we also choose people who genuinely want to add value in people's lives. Remember, here we're dealing with people's lives. For us, it's us making our contribution in society. You know, with the South African society, we're making a contribution. You know, the work that we are doing now, you will see in 20 years' time. You cannot erase us from the history books. You understand? So when we look at it, we see, are you really adding value or are you just doing it? So we want people who genuinely believe in the work we are doing. So, for instance, I can call you because I know you wrote a book on the subject of money, for instance, right? So your heart is in seeing people prosper, people's lives changing. So before I even call you, I know the work you're doing. If I'm calling an attorney and she's speaking on that subject, she genuinely cares about people when it comes to the law. You understand? So we select based on that. What kind of person are we bringing? And what is their interest when it comes to the people that they're delivering value to? And it's quite important to understand that when you do something, you're not doing it for yourself. You're doing it for the person that you are serving. We are servants here.
So, with regards to people that want to collaborate with you,
Yeah.
Do you go to the speakers? Do you go to them, or people usually come to you and say, "I would like to contribute," and then you sit down and do a selection? I don't know if
Yeah.
it's a process.
So some come
Okay.
and ask for collaboration, and then we go through selecting criteria, and then we choose, do we want this person to be a speaker on our platform? Like now we're in charge here.
Yeah.
So we can say yes. So you can say yes, this person can be a speaker, or no, right? And then, but the ones that we go to, also they have the responsibility of saying, do they want to be a part of it? But we've never approached anyone that says, no, I don't want to be. Because we already know you before we approach you. There's alignment that we see. When there's some synergies that we see. Ntando, this is the work that we're doing. Are you willing to come through and address our audience, for instance? Yes, I'm willing. And remember, for us, we're also building a network of business people across the country. There's no province that you can tell me. I know everyone in this South Africa. Every corner, there's someone that I know. And that's what we want, right? If you need something done in PE, you can pick up the phone, call a guy in PE. How do you know a guy in PE?
So you prefer to work with locals in the provinces?
You added value, Akir. Yeah, you added value. Next time you want to buy a building, do some work, you know some people that can assist you in that area. And that's what business is about, right? 21 October, we're going to Botswana, for instance, right? Yesterday I was sitting with one of the developers of skyscrapers in Botswana. He's in SA, he's like, let's chat. So those networks, relationships, you build them so that later you can say, if I want to do some work in that country, who's the best person to speak to? If I want to do some work in Cape Town, who's the best person to speak to? You collaborate for growth. And that's what I've learned throughout as well.
And then the other thing, how do you maintain those networks?
Maintenance.
Because it's easy to initiate them. I think I've seen that as a weakness for many entrepreneurs. They
True.
go to seminars, collect business cards,
Yeah.
talk to people, but never follow up. Or even if they do it one time and they seem to die.
And
3
you
years
know,
you've
and I
met
complain about that.
1,000 people, but
People calling me again.
yeah.
There's always
Yeah.
a peak time when everybody's calling me when they want to register at one of the higher limits. Like they always call you.
They
Only
use
become
need
an
you.
important
That time,
network
after that,
then,
they
and then
forget
they
about
disappear.
you. Yeah. So how do you?
Is there a trick around how you do networking? And
Remember for me, I'm in people's faces every day.
hard
Deliberately
to
so.
forget you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I make sure. So remember, out of sight,
Out of mind.
out of mind. That's marketing. You know, people always ask me, what are you doing on social media? I'm controlling the narrative. That's what I'm doing on social media. I must be there every day. Even if I post something, like now we just did a word of the day now. Let me see, I can tell you, now we're sitting here, almost 397 people have already seen it.
Yeah.
Wait, 860 is refreshing. 860 plays. So what am I doing? I'm saying I'm on radio now at Hope Alive, right? But
Chilling
that's
with your friends.
chilling with my friends. But that's not exactly what I'm saying. I'm also saying I'm still alive. I'm here. I'm doing some work. There's a lot of things you're communicating. And I'm also saying, check out my platforms, buy my book. If I interest you, you see me for the first time, you're going to want to click, who's this guy? You click on the link, buy the book.
You know what I appreciate with you? There's the confidence and boldness and stuff, but you are not afraid to call someone out. This is the reason I started this social media thing.
Yeah.
So what you didn't know was I had blacklisted myself intentionally for over 10 years.
From social media.
From social media.
Yeah.
Yeah, 10 years.
So from 2012 to 2022.
A whole decade.
Sure.
Until I was giving you an intricate answer about why I'm not on social media and talking about different types of branding. You can brand a business. It was all a nice, well laid out excuse. And you say, but coach, I think these are excuses.
And then, you know, Coach, why do people always make others feel bad for having social media accounts? Like, you know, sometimes somebody asks you, why are you on Facebook? And I'm like, how am I going to get news? How am I going to know what's... And social media gives you news right now. If I want to know what's going on, I'm going to go to a certain one. You understand? So
Yeah. But I love what you're saying, Sekho. Remember in the olden days, the only media you had was the newspaper, radio, TV, right?
And the world has changed.
The world has changed. Right now, I can literally be on TV by just taking this video and putting it on social media. 100,000 people potentially can see this thing.
Yeah.
So I can put myself out there. But the question is, how do you put yourself out there? Right? Are you just doing it for the sake of it? Or are you intentionally building your brand? Remember, it's a tool, this thing. TV is the tool, radio is a tool, social media is a marketing tool right now. Like, I've seen your videos as well. Now, can you imagine the number of people that now know you that didn't know you before? Because you blacklisted yourself 10 years ago. Now, and what I'm liking now is that even corporate people go on TikTok. It's refreshing for them to find someone like you. Because remember, they're not there. They might be there for entertainment and dancing. Then they bump on your video, you're talking about some business principles. And they're like, refreshing. At least someone is not dancing. You understand? So you have to look at that and see it and say, some of your customers are out there and they're waiting for you to drop some content on a daily basis.
And there's scale to this thing and the pace at which you can sell and get known. I think the big lesson I learned in marketing was that one thing you may not realize is someone wants to buy what you have. They are ready to buy. They have the money. They just don't know you exist.
Sure.
Yes, and then the other flip of that was there's somebody I recently met, and I checked their profile, and I could see how free they were. In a nutshell, I could have a little bit of trust to say this is a normal person. This is not somebody who fronts. I'm just also trying to show you the other side that. Yes, it also depends on how you show yourself on social media.
Well, he had talent as well.
Yes, but also
it's
other
one
people.
thing he doesn't like.
Yes,
What?
but other people.
When we say you're talented,
On the social media.
yeah, you're talent. It was easy for you to start.
Yeah. You think, you know what the thing is, ne?
Let's prove it.
Yeah.
Let's prove it. Ne?
Yeah.
So let's prove it to the Facebook community. Witness, what's the word of the day?
Yeah, well, the word of the day is that you must be always ready for questions like this.
Which one's this guy?
So a couple of times on this, he never flusters. Like anytime, he always has something to say.
Yeah, but the thing is, you know,
Just like that.
a man who trains 10 times a day, would you call him lucky if he wins a boxing match?
No.
You wouldn't just call him talented, because talent alone is not enough, right? There's some sort of persistence. When I started, for instance, my Facebook profile, writing consistently, I was not doing one post a day or one post every 2 days. I was doing 20 posts a day.
Woo.
Some people would say to me, my friends, say, "Warite na ko Facebook." Yeah. Everywhere it's you. 20 posts a day. You know how many TikTok videos I posted today? 6. The one I posted now was number 6. Today alone. So,
And time for editing, what?
I don't edit.
That's talent, you see.
No, but I don't edit. Here's the thing. I take it as raw as it is and put it in. One thing I've learned about myself is that, I'm willing to be bashed. I'm willing to make mistakes. I'm a perfectionist, but I'm not a perfectionist at the same time. Like, let's do it well, but I don't have to be editing a video.
It's okay to be normal.
This video that was put here, this video that was put now, was done while I was sitting here with you guys.
Yeah.
Andrew took it. He came and asked, "What's the word of the day?" I uploaded it when the show started. It's here now. I didn't have to go sit and edit and look for perfection. I just took it and put it in. And that's what the thing about consistency is, right? How many times can you put it out there? Obviously, if one guy puts out one video a day, right, and another guy puts out 5, the one who puts out 5 will be out there 5 times more than that guy.
And 5 times faster.
And they've got a 5-time chance of one video trending, whereas that guy has got 1 chance. Do you understand?
It also depends on what they put out.
Yes, it also depends on what they put out. But what I'm saying is, I might have the talent when it comes to words. I think my talent is words.
No, but okay, fine. I don't want to use a black upbringing.
Put it the way it is.
Yeah. We are taught to be like we are taught humility. Like
Yeah.
how did you get this confidence that you have? The first time I met you, I
was-
felt like I've known him for for a long time.
I was open. I'm a people's
you were,
person.
you were just like, okay, this
Yeah.
is me.
It's practice, Akira. You know, certain things you learn to practice them over time. And you are right. We are taught
Yeah.
to be
Humble.
and what we call humility is not humility, by the way. It's inferiority complex. There's a difference. Yeah, there's a difference between humility and having a poor self-image and then call it humility. It's not that you're humble, you're scared of being open-minded and speaking your mind. There's a difference between the two. So I've learned to practice being myself. And I'm happy to be by myself. I don't intentionally go out of my way to offend people. But, my man, if you're going to leave me because of my views and what I believe in, you're not the right person for me to begin with. Right? So, but to answer your question, it's practice over time, right? To say, learn to speak up. Someone does something, speak up. Let them know, Coach, I didn't like what you did. And the next time you're like, whew, that was difficult. Then something else happens, you're like, no, so-and-so, I'd like to address something. Over time, you do become somebody who eventually feels comfortable being themselves. And I've got a genuine love for people anyway. So I could meet people for the first time. I'm genuinely happy to be around people, to be sitting here and talking, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people. I'm happy. I'm not sitting alone. By the same token, I'm happy to spend time by myself.
Someone reminded me of a question we didn't answer. How does Witness do networking?
Networking. You know what the thing is, ne? I don't do it in a sense of, let me go network, I need to meet people. I'm genuinely interested in people. Coach, when you and I met for the first time and we had coffee, it was like I'm meeting my brother. I don't know.
Same time, and we got to know a lot about each other.
We got to know a lot. We were open. I was talking. It was okay. I'm with my brother.
Not stuff that can be said.
It can't be said here.
I remember when we had our session.
Yeah.
After that, I was driving. I'm like, I think I spoke too much. But it's because everybody was open. Like, it was just
Being free.
Yeah.
Understand? So I think it's the genuineness in wanting to build relationships rather than wanting to network. There's a difference between the two. Because if I just see you as a network, it means I just see you as when I need something.
I can take.
And it's not nice.
It's not nice to be treated like that. So it's like when I need coach, when I need cameras, and when we need cameras, we'll call coach, he's got nice cameras. But you see now that we have a good relationship, when I need cameras, how difficult is it for me to ask for cameras? How difficult is it for me to ask for something?
Of course, you call me, yeah.
Because there's a relationship.
And you don't feel like you are being used. Understand? Because of this, we've already built that,
Yeah. So with every person, even those that come on and speak, the people that you see speaking on my platforms is people I've met the same way. Sister, Ukraine, I'm being myself. Hey, Ukraine, sister, genuinely interested in the person. Then after finding out this is who the person is, I'm like, every time it's even informal the way I ask them. Where are you on the 30th of September? No, I'll be where I come speak. I think you can be a good speaker. They're like, hey, told me. I'm like, come through. Then like, okay, I'll send you my profile and my picture. So for me, it goes back to really genuinely being interested in people.
Yeah. And then can I just also add, have you seen that sometimes we like to project, like you look at somebody, you be like, oh, I can't talk to that person. But once you talk to them, you realize, oh, no, this person is just a girl next door. She's just a normal person who I can talk to.
Yes.
I've had that so many times. And I'm
Well,
like,
he won't have that now.
no, he
because
doesn't.
he
He's
becomes
made
the
it.
other person.
Yeah. Yeah, scared me. Yeah, we're like, I cannot talk to.
But I mean, I'm easygoing. I don't
No,
think
people,
that
won't
anyone
know
is scared.
that, people won't know that in advance, is it?
In advance, when they see me.
When they see you.
No, but he's relatable.
No, they won't
I've
know.
seen when he enters the room.
It's
Yeah.
until they talk to him that
Yeah.
they realize.
Yes.
You reckon?
Because someone can walk into the room and own the space because they know the people or they're just confident. Doesn't mean when you approach them, they're going to talk to you, right? There are people that do that. But when you
Yeah.
try, they
Yeah.
give you the look.
They close off.
Yeah.
They close off.
So there's always that risk, and people won't know that you are that relatable until they take the initiative and talk to you.
Sure. Yeah,
All right, so
powerful.
witness the content creator, witness the entrepreneur. How do these match? Because time-wise, that must be interesting, balancing the two.
Yeah. Content creation. So for instance, when we say content creation, number one, what are we talking about? Talking about videos, for instance.
All right, hold on. Let me put context to this question. Don't answer it as witness the talented guy who takes a minute to shoot a video.
Okay.
Let's talk about us mere mortals. We need to think about this thing.
I see what you mean.
look
Where
at
you
the
say,
average content
I can
creator.
shoot a video without editing it.
Exactly.
Because there are no mistakes most of the time. I get what you
Because
mean.
isn't the advice we're giving entrepreneurs is put your business out there. But to them, it's not going to come as naturally
as it
and
does, yeah.
They won't do it as fast.
Yeah.
So how would you advise they blend the two? Because they still have a business to run.
Yeah. Find your area of specialty and comfortability, right? So the reason why, for me, it would seem easy that, for instance, I would shoot a video in a minute.
Yeah.
Because I've had practice as a speaker. Right? Remember, at some point in my life, I was a youth pastor of a church. So
You see where this
That
is
I
coming?
missed.
Yeah, but
so which means speaking in public, speaking boldly is part of who I am as a person, right? So, which has meant it's something that I've taken with me into different parts of my career. But we've all taken something from our past experiences into different parts of our careers. You just have to connect with what is it that has prepared me for this moment where I am now. You might not be a content creator in terms of videos, but you could be a content creator in terms of talking about your business. There's something that you can say about your industry that not even a witness can say, right?
And someone out there needs to know and learn from.
Someone out there needs to know and learn from, and simultaneously you make money because when you talk about your business, you're putting your brand out there, right? Because now what we are talking about now is brand building. Because even the name Witness Mtak, I have to manage the brand online. So meaning if I post something, it has to be consistent with my brand. So nothing is just posted now. So if you see me posting a video, I'm dancing with my daughter, I deliberately put it there. I'm communicating something. What am I saying? I'm not just somebody who's focused on business.
It's all about the money. It's about family. It's about other things as well.
Do you see what I mean? So it's not random.
But still, the amateur, how do they balance the time?
Or the time to do
Your
it.
advice, yeah, because it's daunting for people who haven't done it before.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question. So let's say you decide, you take a video, no matter how terrible it is, you put it there. You take another one, no matter how terrible, you do it, you put it there. On the 20th time, would you still be as scared as you were when you did it the first time?
Or it's terrible.
Or as terrible. But let's leave terrible and good out of it. Let's look at how you are feeling.
Yeah.
When you started or after the 20th time. But it's not like Nami, after I posted my first video, I was confident.
We should go back and look for it. You made me curious.
But I do agree with you. Over time, you get better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You do get better with time. And the thing
Remember my
is...
first show? I'll never
Exactly.
That's another one we need to replay and say,
No,
we've come a long way.
We've come a long way. You understand? So there's always... Here's the thing. People see people that are doing certain things at a certain level and compare themselves with them.
To that level.
It's like, my man, if you are starting your political career today, you think you'll be Julius Malema over one. The guy has been in politics since he was 10 years old. He's 41. So meaning he's been doing this thing for 31 years. You understand? So the comparison, when you are starting, understand that now you're an amateur. But for an amateur to be a professional, they have to put in the work.
Remember one of the guests that we had also, one of the entrepreneurs had also said about pricing. He said, I would have been in the industry for this long, and I've seen people that just started wanting to charge the same amount, and they were saying it's not.
They don't understand.
They don't understand how I got to that level.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
Time flies.
Yes. Oh,
We are out of time.
really? That was quick.
Yeah, no, time flies. When you're having fun. Last words for you. You can close us off. You've done this game
Yes.
many times before.
Yeah. So it's a Bible verse.
Yeah.
It's in Corinthians. It says, even things without life, whether flute or trumpet, when it sounded, we know that it is a trumpet that is sounded. So I'm paraphrasing the scripture. Whether flute or harp, we know that it's a flute that is being played.
Yeah.
Right? So, and then another version of that scripture, it says, even lifeless things, right? When they are played, we know that it is that thing that is played. So what I get from that scripture is that when you are an individual, understand what kind of an instrument you are.
Okay.
So if a flute is being played, we know that's a flute being played. If a guitar is being played, we know that's a guitar being played. So amplify your voice in such a way that when people hear it, they can say, that's Witness speaking.
And they know
But
what you stand for.
when I say amplify your voice, I'm not necessarily talking about the voice that comes out of your mouth, right? I'm basically talking about what you stand for, how you do things,
The work of your
and
hands.
the work that you're doing. That's how you basically make a mark in society, by standing out the same way an instrument
Yeah.
can stand out when it's being played.
Thank you. See you to the Hope Alive family. See you next Wednesday, same time, same place.
And it's a wrap.
Much love.
Stay tuned and don't touch that dial.
What's up is happening? You are listening to Hope Alive online radio, shaping minds for a better future. And this right here is Sihle Dube from the Dube Brothers. Much love. God bless you.